You walk into every conversation armed with facts. You bring logic, evidence, reason, and somehow, you still lose. You watch the other person twist your words, dodge your points, and walk away thinking they won. And the worst part, everyone watching believes them too. This is not about being right anymore. This is about understanding that arguments are not one with truth. They are one with psychology. The person who controls the frame controls the outcome. And right now, you are losing because you think this is a debate. It is not. It is a game. And you do not even know the rules. Here is what they are not telling you. Every argument has an invisible structure. Beneath the words, beneath the logic, there is a battle for dominance, for emotional control, for who gets to define reality in that moment. The person who masters this layer wins. Always, not because they are smarter, not because they are more informed, but because they understand how the human mind actually works under pressure. You are about to learn 5 psychological mechanisms that shift power instantly. These are not tricks in the sense of deception. These are patterns of influence that exploit how people process conflict, how they protect their ego, and how they decide who to trust when everything feels uncertain. Master these and you will never lose an argument the same way again. The first mechanism is the preemptive reframe. Most people enter an argument trying to defend their position. This is the losing move. The moment you are on defense, you have already given them the power to define what the argument is about. They set the terms. You react. They control the narrative. You scramble to justify yourself. Winners do not defend. They reframe before the attack even lands. When someone accuses you of being wrong, you do not argue the point. You question the premise. You shift the entire foundation of the conversation so that their accusation becomes irrelevant. You make them defend why their framework even matters. Imagine someone says, "You are being selfish." The instinct is to explain why you are not selfish, to list all the generous things you have done. This is the trap. Now you are defending yourself against their label. Instead, you reframe. You say, "Wanting boundaries is not selfish, it is necessary. The real question is why you think my needs do not matter." Suddenly, they are the one being questioned. The pressure is off you. The frame has shifted, and whoever controls the frame controls the argument. The second mechanism is strategic silence. People think arguments are won by talking, by having the perfect comeback, the sharpest rebuttal, the last word. This is a mistake. Silence is a weapon, and most people have no idea how to handle it. When someone makes a point, the instinct is to immediately counter it. But when you pause, when you let the silence sit there, something happens. They start to doubt themselves. They begin to over-explain. They weaken their own position trying to fill the void you created. Silence creates pressure, and under pressure, people crack. This works because humans are wired to interpret silence as judgment. When you do not respond, their brain starts running scenarios. Did I say something stupid? Are they not convinced? Do they see through me? They start talking more, revealing more, contradicting themselves. And you did not even have to say a word. You just let them destroy their own argument while you watched. The third mechanism is mirroring their emotion with opposite energy. Arguments escalate because both people match intensity. Someone raises their voice, you raise yours. They get defensive, you get aggressive. This is how conversations spiral into chaos. But the person who stays calm while everyone else loses control automatically wins. Not because they are right, because they look right. When someone comes at you with anger, you respond with eerie calm. When they are frantic, you are measured. This does 2 things. First, it makes them look unhinged. Second, it forces them to meet your energy, or look even worse by comparison. People trust the person who seems in control. The one who is yelling, who is emotional, who is spiraling. That person loses credibility instantly, even if their points are valid. This is not about suppressing your emotions. This is about weaponizing contrasts. You become the anchor of rationality in a storm they created. And everyone watching will side with the person who kept their composure. Every time. The fourth mechanism is the trap question. Most people think questions are for gathering information. In arguments, questions are for control. The right question forces your opponent into a position where any answer they give weakens them. This is not about being clever. This is about structure. You ask questions that create a lose-lose scenario. If they answer yes, they admit something damaging. If they answer no, they contradict themselves or look dishonest. Either way, you win. The key is to make the questions sound reasonable, even innocent, so they do not see the trap until they are already in it. Someone claims you never listen. You do not defend. You ask, "Can you name a time in the last month when you tried to tell me something important and I ignored you?" If they cannot, they just admitted they are exaggerating. If they can, you ask why they did not bring it up. Then instead of weaponizing it now, suddenly, they are the one being interrogated. The dynamic has flipped, and you did it with just 2 questions. The fifth mechanism is the future-focused redirect. Arguments get stuck in the past. Who said what? Who did what? Who is to blame? This is quicksand. The more you argue about what happened, the more entrenched both sides become. No one ever wins a blame game. But the person who shifts the focus from past grievances to future outcomes instantly takes control. You stop defending what you did or did not do. You stop trying to prove who was right. You say, we can keep arguing about this, or we can figure out how to make sure it does not happen again. What do you actually want to change? This does two things. It makes you look solution-oriented while they look petty, and it forces them to either move forward or admit they just want to fight. Most people cannot resist this, because deep down they know that rehashing the past is pointless. And when you are the one offering the exit, you look like the mature one. You look like the leader. And in arguments, perception is everything. These 5 mechanisms work because they exploit the gap between what arguments appear to be and what they actually are. On the surface, arguments are about facts and logic. Underneath, they are about power, ego, and who can make the other person feel small. The person who understands this plays a different game. A game most people do not even realize is happening. You do not need to be the smartest person in the room. You do not need to have all the answers. You just need to control the frame, manage the pressure, and make your opponent do the work of defeating themselves. That is how you win. Not by being right, but by being in control. The world rewards people who understand influence, not people who memorize facts. Start acting like it. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.